John, this is a spooky alleyway I've got you depicted in today. How you doing?
I'm doing really well, Jason. Thanks for having me. Nice to be back. Good to see you.
Absolutely. Good to see you. It's, you have been doing a lot of other shows, which is good. So I guess you're accustomed to thanking people for having you. I saw you were doing a show, I guess, with Shepard Ambellis, but it's important for our viewers to know if they're watching on any of the Crowdsource the Truth channels, they can subscribe to the John E. Hoover YouTube channel. Welcome to the 30 people that are watching us on there right now on the simulcast. John, I think most people at this point know you and I have been working together for a long, long time. And most people know that Fridays, that's the day where we're doing our sponsor exclusive shows. People are going to be able to watch that in just 30 minutes on subscribestar.com/IamJohnCullen, patreon.com/IamJohnCullen, and there's a whole host of channels people can watch on for Crowdsource the Truth. I've been promoting Odyssey.com/@Crowdsource the Truth for a couple of reasons, John. It's a totally independent thing, not run by big tech, not invested in by Cantor Fitzgerald. It's its own video server. It's a very pro First Amendment thing. And most importantly, it allows me to offer the most economical access possible at only $3 per month plus a small Odyssey fee. People can join us on there. And I've also been adding a lot of legacy content that's been kicked off of YouTube and Vimeo on the free version of Odyssey, so people can subscribe to either of those. What are we going to be talking about tonight, John, when we get over to our sponsor exclusive segment?
Well, again, we've been talking recently about how time provides an interesting perspective and is an interesting lens. We get to look back on things like this pandemic, and now it seems that there's a lot of attention that's being paid to Wuhan and the source of the virus, and did it come from here, did it come from there? And from a number of different countries, there are these personalities that have emerged, whether it's in the Twitter sphere or the YouTube sphere or the Facebook sphere, that have kind of become, in many ways, kind of the most vocal person from that part of the world, whether it's Australia or Germany or Sweden or what have you. And I thought it would be interesting to take a look at, who are some of these pundits versus who are kind of the social engineers, the GEC, if you will, from those other countries. In other words, you can't expect that we came up with this GEC idea in the State Department and all the other countries just sat by idly and said, well, that's fascinating. I guess, we'll see how that works out. And in 20 years, we'll make a decision. I don't think that happened. I have a feeling that right after we formed the GEC, everybody else in Europe said, that's a splendid idea. That's a splendid idea. And so we're going to take a look at, well, then who might those characters be? In other words, it's pretty easy for us at this point now to look back at the Las Vegas shooting story and then look at certain channels that were popping up on YouTube that seem to have no purpose other than to dispute every video that I posted.
Right.
That's all they did. And that, at the time, if you bring attention to that, it makes it sound like it's sour grapes or, you've got a beef with this person or something. But when you look back on it 5 years later and you say, so Mr. Visual was doing what exactly?
Who was that again, Mr. Visual? This is Vegas stuff. Oh, there's a phone call on the Red Hot hotline. That must be the GEC. Like, stop the broadcast.
Exactly.
I've never heard a phone ring over there before. Wow.
I can't even find it. Yeah.
Who could it be? Knocking on the door.
Let's see. Dr. Fauci, probably. Forgive me. So anyway, the net of it, where were we before Dr. Fauci was gone?
The GEC, all these other countries, there are people who are prominent. And I think a lot of people have questions. They have questions about us. I mean, when you first showed up, Jake Morphonios was trying to put some salt in the game. When I first showed up, the stupid Mario Brothers. They continue to do all that. So it's a fair question for people to ask. And you and I, as I said, have been at this for a little while. So there's some people who have come and gone. There's people who we've interacted with who it really seems like they should, you would think, at least be interested to speak to us and either dismiss what we're saying or, I don't know, it's weird.
Well, we're going to take a look at what sort of reactions do people typically have when presented with the type of information that we've been reporting here on, on our show and that I've been posting videos. And I have a couple examples. So a couple weeks ago, I had this opportunity to sit down with Professor Dave Cullen, Dr. Dave Cullen at Cornell. And he's just a fascinating guy, and he's an open-minded guy. And when you show him new information that's coming from the CDC and the WHO, and he's looking at it, it's like the first assumption he's making is not that I'm a scammer. It's not that I somehow made up some charts that are fake and that this is disinformation. It's that I'm trying to protect my identity for the reasons that we now see with these ad hominem attacks. I mean, we've been talking about the spiral of silence, right? How effective is the spiral of silence when Tucker Carlson loses his job?
Right.
So now, don't you think Brett Baer is going to reel it in a little bit? Right?
Even if he's not thinking about it, subconsciously he will. It's the same thing with Danny Penny, John, right? Someone was on Twitter earlier today. It was a British person posting a video of this guy arguing with a woman on the subway, and the guy punches the woman right in the face. And she's like, oh, where are all the men? How come nobody came to this woman's assistance? The bottom line is it was a black man punching this lady in the face. If you came to her assistance, your options are get beaten up by the guy and maybe go to the hospital or die, beat him up and get arrested, or kill him and go to jail. So, I mean, who in their right mind would, it's one thing if it's your wife, your daughter, your mother, who's gonna defend some stranger on the train who would probably leave you bleeding in the street given the opportunity?
I'm back when I was a little bit younger and a whole lot stupider. I did it, right? So I arrested
But not in today's climate in New York. Look at what's happening to Danny Penny. They're going to stick that guy in jail, and if they don't, the city will burn.
Oh, burn the city. Yeah, I think maybe sometimes, like forest fires, the place looks great afterwards 10 years later. Maybe we need to clean New York up a little bit.
Except I live here. I don't want to burn it out.
Yeah, but that's like your own lunacy. It's just
I know. I got to get out of here.
Doesn't mean it's good. Yeah, it doesn't mean it's good.
I also want to make sure our viewers, John, know that they can follow you on Twitter at I_am_John Cullen. There's so much going on today. Elon Musk has announced a new Twitter CEO, and it seems like the pro First Amendment section of Twitter is not excited.
I just don't know that anybody is saying, wow, what a great choice that is. I just don't see any of that anywhere. Yeah, so my prediction is this is going to be a tough spot. He's reduced the staff to 1,000 people. So now Twitter only has 1,000 employees. And he's a tough guy to work for. I can tell you that too. He's very demanding, right? So, the last woman that he worked with at Tesla ended up having his baby. So,
no, that was at that was at the Brain Company.
Whatever. He just had a baby with one of his employees recently. So he's busy trying to repopulate the earth. And meanwhile, the population's growing like crazy, and he hasn't noticed. We'll talk about that later.
Did you know that
we have a lot of stuff to get to, though? Pardon?
Okay,
I'm sorry?
Linda Yaccarino has won 4 Emmys. Did you know that?
Oh, that's all you had to say. That's all you had to say.
I'm not bringing this up because, Jason doesn't like the Emmys. This is very important. People should remember that Adam Sharp, the president and CEO of the Emmys, was Twitter's first U.S. government liaison He's implicated by evidence presented in the Twitter coup report. And I'm just wondering, is there a relationship between the president of the Emmys and the 4-time Emmy winner who's now going to become the CEO of Twitter? John, don't you think on the day that Elon Musk took it over and Adam Sharp posted a sad little crying emoji, do you think he just said, oh, well, we've lost this 15-year project that was allowing us to control everybody in the United States, I'll just give up and walk away? Or do you think he started dialing through his Rolex thinking, who could we recommend to Elon Musk as the CEO that could recapture this shitbird?
It's strange because of your experience due to a friggin' thumbnail. What we've learned about this organization called Natas, and the fact, you assume at arm's length, oh, come on, it's nothing, right? And then, they're giving awards to Andrew Cuomo. It's like, what? They're giving awards to a governor. It's like, you talk about social engineering. You talk about how to shape public opinion. How do you do it? And, the photos that you've shown of Adam Sharp as dance partners with Obama. I mean, it's clear that there is a connection there. And I don't know if Obama got it back then. I don't know if he fully appreciated it. I don't know if he fully understood.
What do you mean, the Twitter aspect?
The power of the Twitter thing. In other words, back in the day, he may have been taking Adam Sharp a little bit for granted. Adam may have had a better understanding of the vision.
Yeah.
Dorsey is the guy you put on. Dorsey is your front man. Dorsey is your David Lee Roth. He's the guy at the microphone, right?
Something like
that.
But
Adam Sharp, behind the scenes, I mean, you've connected. Am I allowed to say you've connected?
Wait.
No,
there's
the
certain
word
things
begins
you're
with
not
the
allowed
letter
to
J.
say.
The letter J.
No. Do not.
No, I'm not allowed to use the letter J. Okay. All right. So
seriously, not joking. What
I'm
I've
saying,
connected
that's
is
why I'm
evidence
asking.
that indicates that more than
there's
any
these
two
connections.
people, Adam
it's
Sharp
crazy.
and FBI General Counsel Valerie Caproni appear,
there you go,
based on the public domain evidence that I have located, appear to have been two of the most important central figures in inserting the FBI into Twitter. And Adam Sharp did it as the Twitter U.S. government liaison at the time.
And
that
then
Valerie
Adam
Caproni
Sharp and Obama look like they've been performing in the Ice Capades for years together. I mean, it looks right. Where's the photo where the two of them look like they're getting ready to do the tango? There you go. I mean, look at this. I mean, these two look like they've been skating together on ice, dance partners, right?
Mm-hmm. But joking
fantastic
aside,
stuff there.
This is
I'm not joking. I'm not joking. Yeah. This goes back. What year is this? How old is Dorsey in this photo?
2011.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Dorsey looks like he's 21 years old.
I think he's 29 or something here.
Yeah.
And this guy is Alexander McGilvray. He was the general counsel for Twitter at the taking of this photo, and he became the first ever chief technology officer for the United States of America, working for Barack Obama in the White House. He's back now, working for Joe Biden. So this is the technocratic crew that wants to basically listen to everything you're saying, know where you are by the GPS. When you say, okay, install Twitter, you say, send all your GPS info to Twitter so we can advertise and do whatever it is we want to do. This is a control grid.
Well, I'll give you an example. Twitter has something called Spaces. And Spaces, it's like a big conversation, right? It's like a big Zoom call and everybody's talking to everybody. But you can only participate in Twitter Spaces from a smartphone.
Right.
Now, I've got an iMac. In fact, I've got an iMac Pro.
I thought it's got to be only from the app on the laptop. No? It's got to be a phone?
On the phone. It has to be on the app on a phone. It won't work in Mac OS because they need you to be on a phone. Now
so they can track
that's
you.
legacy requirements, right? So this is stuff left over from when he bought the company. But this gives you an example of the degree of the surveillance. They won't even let you into a Twitter space if you're in a Windows computer working at your desk or you're on a Mac.
But is that
They won't let you in.
surveillance, or do they need certain? There's certain things that need an app to work properly. I don't know why.
Why I can't use them? You and I are doing this just fine. I'm on my computer, it seems to work peachy.
Fair
So,
enough. I've been taking
okay.
all your time. We've only got 10 minutes, and there's a lot on this deck that I know you want to get to.
All right. So let's hop into the deck. And I'll show you guys a couple things real quick. So first of all, I'm really enjoying this Gulfstream G650 that one of our patrons decided to let us play around with for a year. So this has been awesome. I got to get you on the plane and out, and we got to head back out to Vegas and park it next to Bill's Arians because it's bigger. Crazy. So
It doesn't
let's
have
go
a
next slide.
Baphomet on it.
Well, that's the point. It's bigger. It's sexier. We're just going to park it right next to his. All right. So, I've been harping about these maps and all this kind of stuff for quite some time. The Johns Hopkins people have stopped updating the map, right? So they stopped with it March 10th. So March, April, May.
Wait a minute.
It's
When
now
did it
been
start?
2 months. They stopped. When did it start? January 2020. January 2020. And that was, Lauren Gardner went to Congress and all that monkey business. We'll do a show on that to recap that. But they stopped. And when they stopped, Beijing had how many people dead? Zoom in where it says Beijing there if you can. It's
8?
like at 10 o'clock. A little closer. No. That's cases. It's like 20 people.
58.
That box.
Oh,
No.
which? This? What? Oh, 20.
Beijing.
I see it down here.
There
Yeah.
you go. There you go. So Beijing had 20 people dead at the end of the pandemic when they stopped counting.
That's
according
wild.
to Johns Hopkins. Now, Johns Hopkins could have a really lousy data source, right? They might be talking to the guy who's got a cart in Beijing selling fried rice on the corner, and that's who they're checking with. And the guy says, I don't know, 20 people are dead? I don't know. Now, you would think that would be a story. You would think that the New York Times or CNN or CBS News would say, hey, Johns Hopkins, Michael Bloomberg School of Public Health at Johns Hopkins, you guys are like an authoritative source. And your thing says it's 20 dead. Is that true? Or are you guys just talking to the wrong guys over there? But
they're all
nobody thinks this is interesting in any way, shape, or form. And to me, that's like having videotape of people who were hypnotized and acting like a chicken, and then you show it to them after the fact, and they don't want to admit that they were acting like a chicken. It's like they can't accept it, right? They can't accept the fact that they got fooled.
Is that real? Does that actually work?
Oh, hypnosis? Oh yeah. Very powerful stuff too. I studied hypnosis for a little period of time because it's part of magic, and NLP and hypnosis are, especially because of Darren Brown. I've told you I love Darren Brown's work. And when I started to see what he was doing with hypnosis, I was stunned. Same thing with, it turns out that David Blaine, when David Blaine puts a thing through his hand.
Oh, yeah.
So that's real. And the way he does it is he learns self-hypnosis. So when I was studying Darren Brown's work, the guy is really good at hypnosis, and I was fascinated by it. And so I started to learn more and more about it because to me it was interesting, especially in the world of deception and magic and NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, things like that. So
is this the guy who plays chess?
Yeah, he's the guy who played the 12 chess masters.
That was awesome.
Circular game, yeah. Oh, you should see some of the stuff this guy pulls off. It is hysterical. He's so talented. Yeah. I'm a huge fan of his. So, yeah, let's pop back to the deck for another minute or two before we have to go show the patrons all the juicy stuff that we're not really allowed to talk about here.
Russian roulette. Wow.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I had the opportunity to speak. I was on a couple podcasts and stuff this week as a guest. The Sean Newman podcast. He's up in Canada. And we got to talk, and he was like falling out of his chair. And so one of the things we're going to look at in this show is how do people typically react to this kind of data? And then how does like a whole nother class of people react when they see this stuff?
A little odd.
And isn't that weird, right? And isn't
Yeah.
that weird? So it was Nietzsche, Friedrich Nietzsche, who said, sometimes people don't want to hear the truth because they don't want their illusions destroyed, right?
That's
Imagine how heartbroken Julia Roberts would be if she knew what Anthony Fauci did.
well. See,
She reveres the guy. She thinks he walks on water.
Nietzsche is perhaps being generous here. Sometimes he says sometimes. Other times people don't want to hear the truth because they're the ones promulgating the lies. That might be happening too.
Indeed, indeed. But this is, in other words, this is a phenomenon that's been recognized by some pretty bright people, right? And for some time. So this is not new. It's not a new phenomenon that we're discussing here. And when you look at data like what I have in front of you right now, this is from the World Health Organization. This isn't from the John Cullen ticker tape machine that's hooked up to the mouse trap in the hamster cage, right? I mean, that's not what this is. This is the WHO. I go to the WHO. This is the GISRS, Influenza Laboratory Surveillance Information System, virus detection by subtype reported to FluNet at the World Health Organization. Look at the right-hand side and look at how big that peak is on the right. That's now-ish.
That's right now.
That just happened. Yeah, like that just happened. So what is that? Is that not bigger than everything else? Like, are we in second grade? Are we in first grade? Like, isn't that bigger? Like, isn't bigger? Or am I being racist? Is that racist? Because bigger is actually the same because we're all equal.
Right.
And if everybody's equal, there is no bigger. There cannot be a bigger because that's racist. And that just goes to show you, right?
Smaller.
So when you see something like this, and I share something like this with somebody like a Marion Koopmans at the, who's on the board at the WHO and all that, head, one of the top virologists in the world. How do you ignore that? How do you look at that and go,
most people don't.
That's nothing. How do you look at that and just say, get the hell out of here? What do you think that is? You think that's bigger? Just because it's bigger? You think that's more than ever before just because it's bigger than ever before?
But the takeaway is
what
there
is
are
the
a
matter
number
with
of people.
What the hell is going on? I mean,
hang on.
I don't
the
get
takeaway
it.
is there's a number of people you have shown it to who have given what appears to be the normal reaction an informed person would have when they are presented with data that is so shocking and glaringly anomalous on its face that when they get past have you falsified this, it's like, hey, go look it up yourself. No, I haven't. That's when they come to the realization that you've stumbled upon something dramatic. And people who refuse to look at this, or even worse, people who have seen this and refuse to engage with it further, if it's not Julia Roberts and it's a scientist who claims to want to get to the bottom of this, their refusal to look at it or engage with the individual who created this chart is suspicious.
I perfectly said. And we're going to look at it. We're going to look at the reactions that Dave Cullen had. I mean, the guy's blown away. He's laughing. He's sitting back. He's like, that's a typical reaction. And these other people, we're going to name names, big name doctors you've seen on TV that have seen this material and ignore it as if it doesn't exist, as if this didn't happen, like Krakatoa didn't erupt. And they're about to take the family on vacation there. It's like, guys, it's not there anymore. It's gone. Oh, no, it's not. No, it's still there. No, it's gone. I don't understand how people are refuting this. Yeah, it's crazy stuff.
A long time ago it erupted, right? 1883. Anyway, John, we're out of time right now. We talk about Krakatoa another time. But what we're going to do is we're going to continue the conversation on the sponsor exclusive segment. People can join us for that on subscribestar.com/IamJohnCullen, patreon.com/IamJohnCullen. odyssey.com/crowdsourcethetruth, crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com, and Subscribestar and Patreon/crowdsourcethetruth. Join us over there on the sponsor exclusive segment. We'll see everybody in 5 minutes.